So our goal at Charity Entrepreneurship is to help people start high-impact charities. And we're going to talk right about that. But first, I'd like 3 seconds of silence. That 3 seconds was about how long it takes the Against Malaria Foundation to deliver a bed net. These bed nets can save lives. In fact, they do save lives. Throughout the duration of this talk, 2 lives will be saved by malarial bed nets by the Against Malaria Foundation. If you want to talk about truly effective organizations, they seem like a pretty great place to start. Recommended by GiveWell for 7 years, massively effective, $40 million were spent on bed nets last year. Truly a fantastic charity. But something that's easy to forget with AMF is that it started small. It wasn't always this powerhouse of impact. It wasn't always this fantastically effective charity. It had humble beginnings where it was smaller and less impactful than it is now. And many charities start the same way. Whether your favorite charity is the Against Malaria Foundation or the Humane League, all of them started smaller than they are now. All of them started newer than they are now. So why support a new organization? Even if there's a chance of a new organization becoming the next AMF, why support that one instead of AMF? Well, one of the answers is your support goes a lot further. At this point in a charity's development, a little bit of funding or a little bit of support can be the difference between the charity thriving long-term and succeeding versus not. Like a snowball being pushed down a mountain, charities tend to get momentum, and building that momentum early is huge. Can you imagine being the donor that donated the dollar that made the difference between the Against Malaria Foundation existing or not existing? Or being the volunteer that gave 1 hour to THL that made a difference with some significant campaign? This is the impact that you can potentially have supporting new organizations. Not all organizations will succeed, especially new, young charities. There's a chance of failure. But failure doesn't mean failing to learn. Many of these charities are measuring their impact closely, publicly putting up their lessons learned, so that the entire effective altruism community and the charity community can benefit, both from successes and failures. Failure has become somewhat of an important thing in the charity world, with people publishing books about how to learn from failures in the field, as well as academics publishing resumes of failures that they've had, bumps along the road to their previous success. This sort of learning value from supporting a new organization can also be a substantial part of its impact. Another impact that's not direct is the ability to raise the bar in a field. If a new organization is founded and has truly effective, good principles and policies, it can set the standard for an entire cause area. I've had donors explicitly speak to me about how when a new charity enters a space that has a particular habit, a good habit, other charities adopt this, utilize this, and implement this when they're approaching those donors later. This means that a new charity can sometimes improve the standards broader. Finally, I'm going to make a case that these charities are good bets. If you're kind of looking at new small-scale organizations, there are thousands to choose from, but the ones in these programs might be particularly good bets for ones that could become truly impactful. They are charities that were started a bit different than most. So let's talk about that. How did these charities come to be? Well, the first step is the idea. The idea of a charity is extremely important, maybe the most important part of a charity. You can have a fantastic team, a brilliant plan, execute it brilliantly, but if you don't have a really impactful idea, it'll be hard to be cost effective, hard to be evidence-based, it'll be hard to make the difference. We started with hundreds of ideas and analytically researched them. Sadly, many charities aren't started based off heavy research, but these ones are. These hundreds of ideas were narrowed down through thousands of hours of research, both by our organization and other external organizations like GiveWell, Copenhagen Consensus, and others who do evaluative work in this space. Throughout all this process, we came to 7 ideas, not just for impactful areas, but impactful areas where specifically a new impactful charity could be started. The people also went through a vetting process. 15 hours of interviews, test tasks, co-founder estimates, compatibility tests, lots and lots of vetting to try to find a certain group of people who could start this next truly impactful organization. Just like the idea, the co-founders of an organization have a lot of impact. Good co-founders can make a charity where bad ones can break it. These 13 were the ones that were selected out of hundreds of applicants to be the people who are most likely to start a fantastically impactful charity, most likely to succeed in running the ideas that we found listed. But the journey for them was far from over. This was just the beginning of their program, in fact. 2 months of intensive training, everything from measurement and evaluation, budgeting, on-the-ground implementation, all the things that you might need. They also spoke to experts in the field, including experts at founding great charities. Rob Mather, the founder of the Against Malaria Foundation, was one of our guest speakers, as was one of the co-founders of THL. Many of these charities were able to talk and learn from the best in the field to help their own chances of success. Now, this all sounds good in principle. Like maybe in theory you can do some research, come up with some good charity ideas, and maybe in theory you can vet some people who might be a better fit for charity entrepreneurship than others and put them together, give them some time to test out their co-founder fits with different people, and start an impactful charity. But what's the track record for this? Has anything like this worked before? Well, we have done a similar process, less formally, but a similar research process, and 2 charities were started because of it: Fortify Health and Charity Science Health. Both have scaled, received a Givewell incubation grant, which is one of the most difficult grants to get for cost-effectiveness focused charities, and are now helping hundreds of thousands of people across India. We think these are promising initial signs of success, signs that maybe charities started in this new analytical way could have a potential of becoming truly high impact. So say we're sold, that we think new charities might be worth supporting, might be worth considering. Well, there's a few different ways we can help them. One is with wisdom. Mentors can be the difference between a charity being impactful or not. Mentors can give a kind word, a psychological boost, or a story about a time they failed at something important. This advice was crucial for the founding of Charity Science Health and almost every other effective charity. Most successful charities have an advisory board of people that the charity trusts to speak to about important issues. Another way to support a charity is with wealth. $1 right now can be significant to a charity's impact. A big donation can double its impact. It can affect things at a scale that's hard to do with larger organizations. And similarly, $1 can be the difference that make or breaks a charity's success. Finally, there's work. Many of these charities are looking for employees, researchers, volunteers, people who can put in hours to making this success. And similar to the other 2, at this beginning crucial stage, this hour can be an impactful way to improve the world. Now you'll notice I've talked a lot about the process for creating charities, but I haven't said anything about the charities themselves. I haven't listed a single co-founder or specified a single idea. That's deliberate. We decided it'd be best for the charities to tell you themselves. Thank you.